Are you ready for week 2 with Adobe Photoshop? The good news is, unless you really want to go digging for some more tutorials, which I did have listed on the previous overview segment, and there are some links posted in both, actually in all of the above. Last week's discussion, Photoshop help, and the open topic. I noticed that a couple of folks were very helpful there, so thank you so much for that. You can also go look for some other tutorials. There you'll find a variety from blog posts, step-by-step instructions to videos as well from just general users. And honestly, I rely on those heavily when I'm trying to accomplish a specific task in Photoshop. Obviously, the trick is finding the right keywords to get across what it is you're looking to do. But this week we're continuing your use of Adobe Photoshop while shifting slightly to incorporate more of the theory behind design. We're going to be looking specifically at the cognitive theory of multimedia learning as you dig into the multimedia principle. So on screen you see a very rudimentary graphic that I created a few years ago, but it breaks down kind of a general view of the cognitive theory of multimedia learning from Richard Mayer. Essentially, we can process information through words and pictures. If they are pictures, then we can see these with our eyes. We receive them as images, and they are stored in working memory, or coded, I should say, in working memory as a nonverbal system. If we are seeing words or hearing words, we can see with our eyes or hear with our ears. That's why there's 2 arrows for this particular process. So we can process these into working memory as sounds or images, and these are interchangeable in a way that as we encode them, what happens? So here's a little exercise. When you think about the Doppler effect, we often use the symbol of a train to help illustrate that particular concept. When I spoke those words, odds are very high that a large number of you listening actually then imagined a picture of a train, if you closed your eyes, and heard the sound of a train's horn in that Doppler effect. The mind is a beautiful thing. And then we store these into long-term memory, and we recall from long-term memory using verbal and nonverbal systems to help us recall information. So that's where we're at. We're looking at visuals and the role that multimedia, what happens when we have words and pictures, come into play, and how that can help us with enhancing the transfer of information. So you're reading this week and looking at that idea while you continue to work on developing your Photoshop skills. So let's take a look at this week's expectations. Use the on-screen navigation to access another section of this week's overview.